Hi, it's Mishi back on this June 7th already. 2020 is a 2-day choices. These energies are shifting so fast. We are going to get into these energies, guys, so we can be centered and we can be ready for our amazing 2021 is coming. And so we're already 6 months into 2020, and 2021 is going to be here so fast. So let's get centered. I need to center myself. I was meditating. I was preparing for this reading, and I'm so hyped up because the energies are just flowing. So we are going to do 3 rounds of breathing, and then we're going to do our tones. So count to 5 on the inhale, count to 3 on the hold, and then just blow it out for another 5. And then we're going to go around 3 times. Take that breath all the way down to the sacral chakra that sits right below the heart chakra, but just above the sacral chakra is the solar plexus. I might have called that the sacral, but it's the solar plexus. It's yellow. It's right at the belly button or just a little bit above. That energy goes deep inside all the way to our spine. So let's start our breathing. Let's begin. Again. Again. All the way out, all the way out, all the way out. Whew, I felt that in my back. So let's get our solar plexus tuned. We started 2 videos ago with your distant healing tune-up. And so we started with the root chakra. We moved into our sacral. And so now we're at our solar plexus. So here we go. Whew, let's get into our readings. I'm going to move my drum to the side so you can see as I place the cards out. Before I started the video, I wasn't aware that I would be doing this. I'm going to set that there. I wasn't sure that I was going to be doing a card from the Oracle Wisdom deck. And it beckoned and called. I actually today, because it's every now and then you do have to clean your energy space. So this is the space where I do our energy readings. So every now and then I have to do a cleansing, and I do it with Palo Santo. It's like a wood stick, and it's a burning, and so as it burns, it cleans. And when I was doing that, you can also do it with sage, but this time I use what I called an abundance incense, and with that Palo Santo, so that it could cleanse the energy, because like I said, these energies are moving really, really fast. They're very, very fluid. So I was beckoned while I was doing the cleansing, and I got a card from what we call the Wisdom Oracle. So the Wisdom of the Oracle deck is, wow, guys, chaos and conflict. And this is the energies that we're in right now. It is truly, truly chaos and conflict. and it's global. We talked about it in our last video. So with these chaos energies, this card is a 33, so it gives us down to that number 6. And 6 is our persevering. So that means chaos and conflict is continuing to move. It's continuing to be fluid. So we're going to go into our regular cards to try to see how these energies of this chaos and this influence of this chaos is flowing. And when we're talking about this chaos, we're talking about our money. Right now, these planetary shifts of consciousness on a global pandemic, we're going to say a pandemic because it started with the coronavirus, and then now we moved into this protest season. And so as it's shifting, what is shifting? Our commerce is shifting. The effects from this pandemic has created an economic shift, and as well as our way that we now socialize, how we communicate with each other, how we are moving into the next phase. They're calling this pandemic phases. And so as we move from one energy to the next of these phases, different things are happening and happening fast. So we had pent up energies, we had pent up creativity. And so before they even said we could start to move about a little more, other than going to the grocery store, we couldn't even have a wedding. We couldn't even do a funeral for those who did not survive the illness. We also had people who were protesting, wanting to, get back into life. That caused chaos. So now we're in a new phase of chaos where after the chaos, we had tragic on camera, on screen. And this is what I mean by our consciousness, how we are able to see. We're verbally and visually impaired. It's like the shield has been lifted. The dark glasses have been removed, or the layers was peeled off the shields of our eyelids. That, remember we talked about in January, that thin veil between this world and the unseen world. And so that veil, that curtain has been ripped open. And when it was ripped open, a wound was also ripped open. And it's global. That wound has been very, very painful. So guys, that's when I said, if you weren't doing the purging, if you weren't cleansing or clearing out things in your life during the last 6 months, I would really say go into 8 months or maybe even 12 months, a whole year ago. If you were not preparing for this time, and preparing for this time, I mean that you were shifting. Some of those shifts or changes happen out of our control. So for example, before the pandemic, you might have lost a job. You may have lost a loved one. You may have broken up, had a heartbreak. Something shifted. And so on that way to healing or mending, if you didn't heal, if you weren't here with us last year to actually start that process of healing, to understand what real healing is about, I would suggest go back to these videos that I started back in April last year, 2019, and see if you can kind of catch up in understanding the transition that has taken place, that has brought us to where we are in these June energies. So we're going to get into our cards and see where the mystical shaman is taking us on this divine journey, because these energies, guys, they are very divine. So there's nothing to fear, although it appears in some cases that there's so much going on that it could create fear, that it could create concern, because we're seeing it happen before our eyes, where before the stories, before social media, the stories were hearsay or in print, or even, with our media, our organized media, our politicians, our leaders was telling us the story. And then we started to question that story. This doesn't sound right. And it was like we started seeking and looking for our own answers, which led us to seeking and being our own reporters. People started, pulling out their cell phones, their iPhones, their Samsung, their Android phones, and they started recording and taking accountability to what was happening around them. Whether you're on an airplane and, it's called airplane shaming, or if you just happen to be out at the grocery store and you all of a sudden saw something that just wasn't looking right, and you just turn on your phone and you started recording the events of what was happening around us. Or if you went to an event and people were catching people off the mic, in front of the camera they were saying one thing, and then off the mic they started saying something else. So we started to, as a society, taking place, a society that is now shifting how everything we do is going to a new earth, is going to a new phase. And at the end of it, this will be a better place here on earth for all of us. But there's going to be some pain, and there's going to be chaos. And that's why I said, as long as you're healthy in your mind, body, and your soul and your spirit, if it's strong, if it's grounded, you will survive and make it through this moment in our history and our time. And you may even participate it on some level. Your creativity should be opening now. So your desire to want to explore is more abundant. Remember, I talked about that last week in our last video with those Sagittarius energies over the weekend with that full moon sitting in that sacral chakra, that our desire to explore, our desire and our passions with that war of Aries had exploded. And so now they're starting to simmer down. They're starting to take a back seat. They're moving out of the way so that we can explore what these changes are and what these changes mean moving forward. So I got quite a bit of cards here. So we're going to just go ahead and start this reading. I was powering our cards up this week with our old faithful Reiki symbol so that we can get a little extra power and protection as we move through these energies over the next month. So, oh boy, let me see how these cards, there's quite a bit here. I'm trying to see who fell, how they fell, and, and we'll go into why they fell. So I think I got them backwards, so I'm going to have to flip them over and start here. Vision Quest. We've had this energy before, guys. So it's, again, perseverance. It's a number 60 card. And remember, last week we had the Rainmaker, who was also in a pose of dancing, a pose of releasing, a pose of defiance. and that we're going to persevere in this dance. So with the vision quest showing up here in this energy, moving further into the beginning of June, moving us into the middle, is a vision quest, a dance of a vision quest. So I have been drawn lately to take my meditation and my exercise level to the level of what I'm calling a trance dance. And so in that trance dance, when you're playing music and you're listening to the rhythm, and so it's more of drumming and rattling, and flutes, and it just percussions, just all kinds of I would say sacred music that puts me in a dance trance where I'm just moving, and it actually becomes like a very vigorous workout, because as I'm moving into this meditation, into this what I call trance dance flow, and I close my eyes, that's where the vision quest begins. And so when you're on that journey, you could be, when you set the intent, your body is moving, so it could be moving as if you're running, and all of a sudden you are imagining that you're running through a forest, and the forest itself is giving you its energy, it's giving you its breath. The trees are rustling, the wind is blowing, the earth beneath your feet feels as if you have become one with Mother Earth, Pachamama herself. And this vision quest can actually, if you were to just close your eyes and go into meditation without even the trance dance itself, that you could be sitting still and still having that dance with yourself, having that dance take you on a vision quest to what your future is to look like. The vision quest. Wow. And again, that chaos, you got to move that chaos energy. Oh my God, I can't make it up. Who's here but Pachamama again? It is all about the earth. It is all about Creator. It's all about creation, taking us on a vision quest through all this chaos. So, okay, let's even take it to another level. If we're on a vision quest, guys, and I'm just, my hands are wailing in the air. So if you hear noises or I bump the camera, it's because my energy right now is on fire. And because in the last week with that full moon, and I always do my full moon ritual, and I always try to include a healing prayer or a healing energy blessing for the earth, because the earth right now is purging itself. It is stretching. It is, guys, we keep talking about this because we're in the same energies. The water, last week, right after that video, it started thundering here where I am. And then it just poured, and then it would stop. And right now I saw where there's some hurricane coming up. And I can't even think of it had some very effective name. That hurricane is coming up from the south into the New Orleans area. That area has gone through so much, but right now they're just threats, whether it's coming through Texas or it's coming through Florida, but it's coming from that same pattern, that same extreme, or that same stream of air that is pushing that water into land here in the United States. And I know that it has been raining in other parts of the world, but not yet as what we call a cleansing, where it rains so much or it pours so much that Mother Earth soaks herself, and so that she can purify and clean us. So right now, while you can, this is a great time to connect with Pachamama. And how do you do that? You do that through life of the earth. So whether it's taking a walk in the park, taking a walk around a lake, planting a bush or a tree or seeds or flowers, something that creates life, or even in the food that we eat, the vegetables and the fruit. I was telling you that the strawberries from the moon this past weekend is, the harvest time for fruits. And so these fruits now are going to bring in a juicy bounty. And so when you eat Mother Earth, the fruits, the gifts of the earth that she provides us, it's always good to say thank you to the vegetables, the food, whatever your dietary is. If it comes from what we call life, something that grew, or whether it's plant or animal, if it had life, it's always a blessing to say thank you. That's why we bless our food before eating, because you're blessing the food that Pachamama has given us, that is nourishing your soul so that you can survive. We live in a evolution, a cycle of evolution, and that is our nourishment and how we survive. Completion. Oh my. Wow. Oh my goodness. We have completion. I got to look at this card, guys. This is kind of like the Ouroboros, eating its tail. Completion. It's like the rainbows, the colors of the rainbows. It's like coming back around. It's like the four elements. It's like the Kundalini coming into completion. And Kundalini is a prana energy. It's a part of those chakras. And if you see how this Ouroboros or this serpent is putting his tail back into his mouth. I have a story about the Ouroboros or the Kundalini energy. I was I was working at one of the high-end stores, and right now it's just like really taking my breath away, because I came upon this piece of jewelry that was the symbolism of this. And this was like, oh my goodness, this had to be about 7 years ago when I purchased a John Hardy designer piece of jewelry that was based on the Kundalini energy. And at the time, I knew nothing about it. I had had a few visions. I had had a few dreams. And through that process, or that outer body experience, I was told about the Kundalini energy. And so I went on a quest, as I always do, in search of or seeking of what was the meaning, what was this all about? And I went to look for something for a customer, because I was like a personal shopper. And so I would go throughout the store looking for items for my customer. So I went to find something for a special customer. And in my tracks, I saw this Kundalini symbol or this snake, this Orbis piece of beautiful sterling silver jewelry with the mother pearl. And I just told her right on the spot. I didn't know how much it cost. I just said, I know I had to have it because it was beckoning me. It was calling me. And it was just really at that time, I was in the middle of this mystical, magical experience that had begun to happen to me. So now that I can say that, I know exactly when this was. This was back in 2013. And it was like between 2011 and today, the journey, this shifting has been haunting me or following me or summoning me into this space where I'm here with you today, having this mystical, magical experience as we shift into our new bodies, into our new space of being here on Mother Earth. So completion is near. This year, it's just look at that card. Completion is near. That is meaning we have gone the full circle in life, in this lifetime. And it's not about age of us individually, but it is the age of Aquarius. It is the age of experience of humankind here on this earth. Completion. Oh, guys, woo! We got that Jaguar. That Jaguar is back. And this Jaguar is a number one. It is the spirit of a fresh start, a new beginning. And our energies from the past, when we had the Jaguar was kind of like sneaking up on us and telling us in that period, in that time, of the energy that said renewal or rebirth or fear of taking control of your life. And if you didn't take control of your life when that Jaguar came up before, that means you got eaten by the Jaguar and it digested your fear, because out of fear you became weak, you became vulnerable, you became ready to be lunch. And so the shamans believe that the Jaguar, the spirit of the Jaguar, is really a transformation. And so there's a story that this Jaguar always bring to mind that I heard. And I think it was from Caroline Myss. I used to follow her that goes beyond 2011. I've always been in this space of spiritual pioneers or self-help gurus. And so in the story, and she told this story many, many years ago, I was like, in my 20s. I was a baby, just getting started. And she tells the story of the Jaguar, where this person, this guy, had one of the worst days of his life. And he went to work and he owned a business with a partner, two other partners, and they told him, we're buying you out. We can't work with you. We don't want you in the company anymore. So we're buying you out. So what do you want? Do you want stock or do you want money? He goes home totally upset. He's put a great amount of time with these gentlemen in this business, and this business is now telling him, you aren't working with us anymore. We've overruled you. We've voted you out. And he gets home before he could tell his wife. She's packing and he's like, what's going on? And she's like, I want a divorce. I'm leaving you. So this, long story short, this became one of the worst days of his life. And oh my goodness, I love this Jaguar. Look at the eyes. Look at the moon at his feet. And it's a girl. It's the moon at her feet. And so he goes to sleep very, very distraught, very depressed. And in his dream, he's dreaming that he's in a Jaguar, the beautiful car Jaguar. I love those cars. I salvaged just to have one day. But that's another story. And so as he's driving up the mountain, can you imagine a rear drive, a beautiful Jaguar? And back then they didn't have SUVs, so there was no all-wheel drive. There was a rear wheel, beautiful vehicle. And actually in my last video that I just did, there's a picture in there of the ornament, the hood ornament of the original Jaguar cars. And so he's driving this vehicle up the hill. That is amazing, guys. I can't make this stuff up. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so if you get a chance, go look at that video again. You'll see that Jaguar, that silver, beautiful Jaguar, almost at the end of that video. But he gets up the hill, and at the top of the hill, he looks down. It's ice. It's snow. And so, but he has to get down the bottom of this hill. So he starts to go down again in this Jaguar car, rear wheel car. Those cars weren't made for ice. They were made for power and beauty and luxury at its ultimate, especially when you have money. It was a symbol of reaching the status of the higher in the animal kingdom, of the pure, sleek elegantness of a Jaguar. So as he's coming down this hill, the car is slipping and sliding. And of course, he's like, if I ever make it down this, you know how we do when we find ourselves in a pinch or in desperation or fear or something that's happening in our life that has us so broken. We start making deals. We start saying, if I ever get out of this, I'm never going to do this again. I'm going to be like this. I'm going to be a better person. And as he's sliding down this icy mountain, he comes to a stop at the end of the mountain. He catches his breath and he looks ahead and he sees this house. Practically like in the middle of nowhere, but all of a sudden this beautiful, beautiful house looks very inviting. He's trying to catch his breath. His car is, in a state of stress. He's in a state of stress. So he figures, okay, let me go see if I can get some help. So he creeps over to the house, walks up, knocks on the door. Beautiful woman answers the door and say, how can I help you? Well, the moral of this story, or the end of this story ended, well, this beautiful woman became his new wife, and the stock in the company went on to do very, very well and made him a very successful man where he could buy many Jaguars. And the company was Purina Cat Chow, the Jaguar. And so, guys, this is where we're heading. We're heading with these energies. So if you are doing the purging, if you are learning to be in spirit with Pachamama, your Jaguar will be attained or controlled or taken, or however you want to bring that Jaguar in your life. The lower world is our next card. It's a number 4 card, 31. And I've been seeing this number. I've been seeing 131, 1131. Before I was seeing 911, it's moved from 911 to 31 and 131, which is when we add those numbers up, it is my children's birthday. My daughter was born on 3/13, and my son was born on 3/31. So those numbers have always had significance in my life. And so for me, those numbers are saying to me that I am coming into my happy ending. I am moving, I'm doing everything that is pushing me or elevating me. And I just have to keep looking forward, keep focusing as the angels talk to me. So if you're seeing triple numbers, double numbers, or numbers that have significance, or what we call something like synchronicity in your life, those numbers have meaning, just like your dreams. They're reminders of your vision quest, your visions of where you're going, what your dreams are, what your desires are. But because the lower world has showed up, and lower world is this world that we are in now with one foot in the grave. So when we think about 4 is stability, stable, okay? So that means with this lower world card, even though the chaos and all the tragedy of death and destruction is around us, we still have a stable foot in this world. And so along with that Jaguar showing up before this card, this is a scary looking card. That means that the Jaguar basically in shaman terms and understanding the rituals or the divine practice of shamanism, they can use the spirit animal of a jaguar to actually travel into the lower worlds. And when you go into the lower worlds, you go with your animal. The animal could be a bear, it could be a lion, it could be a dog, it could be a cat. But as you take this journey into the lower world, because before we can transform or become anew from all the chaos that our middle world is experiencing, we have to get the lower world back to the lower world. And so right now, what's creating or helping to cause all of this lower world activity is because these beings, these spirits, have been leashed into this middle world. And it's basically coming to get, it's like when you see the Grim Reaper and this commercial I love about the refrigerator, the utilities are dying. And she's like, no, not my refrigerator, not that too is dying. The Grim Reaper shows up because the Grim Reaper comes to take souls. And so with all the souls that have been being purged here on earth, there's a lot of activity from the lower world coming to get those souls. And so because you have all of this work, this spiritual journeying, this cleansing, and remember karma, what goes around comes around. And so because you started a journey, and on that journey, you started asking questions like, what's my destiny? What's my purpose? Why am I here? Some of us have gone through a lot of pain. Why am I here? Because all I do is suffer. Or, why those things just don't always seem to go my way? Or just as I feel like I'm starting to make progress, something tragic or, something that appears to be out of my control happens to me again. And so as we try to navigate not just independently, but as a global conscious, as we try to navigate those energies, those spirits that are among us that need to go back to the dead. You know, there's the saying is we can mourn life and we can mourn death, but we allow the death to take care of the dead to take care of the dead, and life to take care of life. So as we start to get back to life and living, and actually living on the plane of consciousness where our earth is being purged and cleaned so that it can rise from the phoenix, like this arrow is pushing through the heart of the sun into the sky and the moon and piercing. It's pointing up towards heaven. The arrow is pointing up to heaven. So the card before was the lower world, we are now coming up from the lower world into heaven so that heaven can be brought down on earth. So before, our energies were that this arrow came. So Sagittarius has an arrow, right? It's a half man, half horse animal sitting upon a horse with a bow and arrow. So with the arrow, when you are in heaven's spirit, when you go to shoot this arrow, wherever you point it, it will hit its target. And so as you're doing your vision quest and dreaming about where do you go from here, what are your truest desires, what is your deepest dreams, that arrow or the aim that you are seeking, you're going to hit it. You're going to hit it. I'm telling you guys, this is what we have to look forward to in 2021. As these energies start to move out and the chaos start to come into order, but the order will never be what it was. This new order, or the rainbow, and we all know that the rainbow brings out the beauty, the calmness. Like, think of a storm. After the storm, the rains, the floods, all the stuff that's happening here. And then once the rain comes, Mother Earth shines her light that appears, like they say, at the end of the rainbow is a pot of gold. So I guess it depends on which end you're on. If you're at what you think is the beginning, at the other end is a pot of gold. If you're at what you think is a beginning, but it's all actually, for me, it's where my pot of gold is. The other side is your pot of gold. So the rainbow has a pot of gold on both sides. So when you meet in the middle, and for me, the rainbow, and look at my screen, okay? The rainbow is our chakras. And I'm going to move this magnifier off of that solar plexus so you can see the rainbow in our chakras. And so when we are coming together and we're tuning, we're going up to the heavens with these tunings every time. And that's why I'm trying to do a video so that we can make it to the top of the rainbow, to the top of our rainbow that sits in our body, that is called our energy body, our chakra system. Like that completion of that serpent snaking her way, Kundalini, to our higher self and helping to bring us to one with God. Because here on earth, or in the lower worlds, as they tell the story of the serpent is what took us out of the garden. And so how do we get back to the garden? through the serpent, through the eyes of the serpent, going up towards God, going up towards using the arrow to pierce. See that beautiful, beautiful bird? Oh my God, this card is so beautiful. In the background of the card is the forest. So it's Mother Earth herself. It's Pachamama to a rainbow of joy. Guys, it's time to get your happy ending. I'm telling you, so be careful what you ask for moving into 2021 because that's going to be it. The Smokey Mirror. I mean, wow, we are revisiting these cards that were very significant on this journey. For those of you who have been with me on this journey, you know these cards. The Smoky Mirror, guys, again, meditate, meditate, meditate. That is going to help you see clearly. That is going to help that veil to completely lift itself off. Go into meditation. Meditate on seeing. Meditate on clearing that smoky mirror so you can have that halo. You see how the Buddha's head, the top of the head, is in golden halo? That's what I was just talking about with those chakras. As we move through those chakras, we're unblocking them. We're cleansing them. And so I'm going to just give you a quick story about these chakras are as we break open that wheel of life, that completion, that circle, that orbis. These chakras are like that orbis, one by one. But each chakra has a meaning. Each chakra is a source of our body. And so right now we're at the belly button. So everything below the belly button is external. We've been working on breaking up that energy and healing those wounds of the past of everything external. So the root chakra is your base. The root, think of a tree, the tree of life. The roots in the ground sits at your base chakra. So any ailment that you have, you go to the doctor, you say, okay, my monthly, my female time of the month, the moon cycle comes in and I'm cramping, I'm in bad pain, or I can't have children, or I can have children, or prostate cancer, if you're a male, or whatever the issues are that is external to life happens. Family, your money. So that chakra, we healed that first. That's why we start at the bottom. And we moved up to our sacral chakra last week. And that sacral chakra is our sexual passion. That is our passion for life. So as we are breaking up these chakras, getting that energy moving, and that's what that breathing exercise and that tone with my chakra drum is to help you from a distance to get into these videos and get into this healing process so you can be in a point where you can learn to give it away. And when you give it away, you're giving and sharing what you're learning on this journey. Because remember, this is a conscious shift. This, when I say conscious, it's in the mind, it's in the spirit, it's in the soul. It is a conscious that we all are collectively are one on this earth, on this big, beautiful Pachamama earth. And we're co-creating our next century together. We're feeling these vibrations. We're being awakened. We're being slapped like a baby being birthed. We're being spanked into awakening. And so as you're awakening, you can't keep it to yourself. You can't be selfish, but you also can't force it. You can't give somebody something who's not going to receive it in understanding. They will come to you, those that are around you or people you don't even know, in your giving away, in your sharing of your joy of what's happening in you, around you, or the things that you see, the saying to see something, say something. That's also giving away information. It's like the videos we're seeing. Everyone is like, they're showing us all these incidents or accidents or tragedies. And some of them are not so good and some of them are amazing. I see videos of people sharing, warm-hearted stories, stories of inspiration or people who are overcoming obstacles. That's also an energy of giving away. And that's a 5. So 5 is changes. Changes are happening in these, beauty way. Beauty way. And I love this card. You see that dragonfly and that lotus flower? The significance of this lotus flower is that at night, the lotus is in the murky waters of the swamp, so to say, with the lily pads, with all the frogs and all the little, nature of flying beings or even fairies hang in the murkiness of the forest in the shallows, the shallow waters. And so at night, the lotus goes down in the mud. So let's say we go down under. And as we arise or awake in the morning, the lotus flower comes up unscathed, untouched. The leaves are perfect, not a mud or dirt. And you're like, oh my God, how does that happen? How does the lotus flower sleep at night down in the murky mud and come up without a point of dirt of any type on it? It's because that water is, when it comes up every morning, reaching for the sun, it is a symbol that it's like the chakras. Those chakras, as you cleanse those chakras, you're cleaning out the mud, the dirt of the chakras. And as they clean, as they spin, and they're able to cleanse your soul, your spirit, once it reaches the top of your head, it's going to see the sun like the arrow pointing, and it will be cleansed. It would shower just like that water. When it pushes through the water, it cleanses it. And so as it basks in the sun of the daylight in all its glory and all this beauty. And so we are reaching for the beauty way. So in everything you do, even if you have to go down in the mud to fight or deal with the chaos of this time, remember, as you're reaching forward towards the sun, you have to be cleansed. You have to be washed. You have to be baptized into the sun. And so we're back with our beautiful, beautiful rainmaker. Last week we talked about, look at those wings. She's spreading her wings. She's in a dance like a wild woman. She has her hands raised, but her beauty of her beautiful wings glowing out under the sun with the light of the day. And I'm just looking at her. Last week we didn't get into, look at her dress. It is filled with the feathers of a beautiful bird, like that bird in that rain. Wow. And the rainbow. And this is these energies, guys. This whole video has been about the chaos and the renewal and the conflict. And so as we are clearing up, cleansing up our soul, our spirit, our emotional body through understanding of these chakras, this is some powerful stuff, guys. And again, this card is a 6. Persevering. This whole reading is about choices and change and persevering through this period of time in these energies. So I just showed you how to do all of this, how to get to your happy ending, your destiny, your joy, your vision quest to what you desire. And that desire has to be what's good for everyone. It can't be hurtful, because if your desires are not in agreement with the universe and what your true calling or your true destiny is, then it's not done in good intent. So, for example, let's say you're in love with someone, but that love is unrequited. That means that do not have that, they're not equating back the same emotions, the same feelings. Then you are not to pray or use any kind of magic or any kind of mean or negative spirit towards that situation, because then it's going to be like a boomerang and reflect back onto you. So your desires and your dreams and your wishes have to be your destiny, and they also have to be what's best for everyone involved. You cannot try to force life or other people's will, because when you do, it's only not a good will for you. It's not the best will for you, because if it's for you, the universe, Pachamama, God and Creator, will help you co-create that into being. So when you pray, when you read and know your heart, that's why it's important to know thyself. We all are capable of doing some of the most horrendous, the most god-awful things. As long as you know what that is, you will never do it. But when you say, this will never be me, I will never do that, or you judge or you take injustice on someone else, it's a boomerang effect. It comes back on you. I just digressed. We're going to get to our last card, and it's back at our water. We're still purging. We're still cleansing. Let that water bathe you, because I'm telling you guys, once we get to our higher self, the top of our crown chakra, and you have been following this journey, you have been doing your personal work on this journey, your understanding. If you have questions, if you feel lost, if there's any way I can give away anything I have to help you on your journey, whereas when I say give away, I mean give you or share with you my blessings through this journey of understanding these energies that we're in, this space we in, this spiritual blessing, this journey, and how you can attain or stay on track for your journey. If I can do a personal healing for you, if I can give away a personal reading to you, please reach out and let me know. and we'll just go through there. You can reach me at she@justbreathe.com. Send me an email, and we will discuss what's the best way to, and it depends on my schedule as well, because if I'm too busy, I have too much going on, I'm going to apologize right now if I'm not able to get to you right away. But please reach out to me and we can just go from there. Guys, I just want to say I'm grateful for our little small group, and it's where God has me, is what God wants for me, and I'm following my own destiny, my own creative path, and I'm just happy that you're along with me. And I'm happy that even if I don't see you or talk to you, we are together in spirit. So until the next time, the next card is the Hangman, and the Hangman means upside down, topsy-turvy. This is the chaos.